radio, I welcome DaddyO of Stetsasonic, aka Professor DaddyO, as we talk about Stetsasonic and so much more. Stay tuned.
I don't know where you are, but
No, I'm in New York running out and about. I say, hey, let me stop. I just stop and sit down and do this running around, trying to get things set up for the set stuff coming up. I got a lot of set stuff coming up. So besides recording the rest of the album, we got 2 shows in New York, one on the 19th and one on the 28th.
Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate you taking time out to speak with me.
Oh, no doubt. I appreciate
well,
you.
I do want to talk about that, first of all, because that's big for hip-hop. Talk about Stetsasonic. I didn't know you guys were back together. A lot of us have been wondering, what had happened to you guys. I know that you did solo projects and Paul did solo projects and everything, but we didn't know like you guys were back together. How did that come back together?
Well, we never broke up. I actually just had the Wikipedia page done over because I don't know, a lot of people don't know this, but Wikipedia is basically a public platform, so anybody can add to it. So people be thinking it's an official source. It's not. So, Wikipedia was saying we disbanded. We never really disbanded. Stetsasonic has always been around. Now, making records, that's a whole nother thing because, I'm doing one thing, the light's doing another thing, Bobby, you know what I mean? So we, that concept of making records together, when it makes sense, it makes sense. But in terms of touring and stuff, we always been together. Only difference between Stetsasonic and, like, say, all the rest of these guys that's out here, most of the guys at least, is we gotta have a band. Whenever we perform, we gotta have a band. And I'll be brutally transparent. A lot of promoters are not willing to pay for that. So you won't see a whole, you end up not seeing a lot of us except for overseas because they're the only ones that, well, I can't say only, but they're a little more palatable. It's a little easier for them to say, we understand, this is what we want. We want the full band, but in the States, I get requests for the 3 MCs all the time. What's your price? This is my price. Oh man, we can't pay that. Well, how much just for the rappers? And for a long period of time, I wasn't doing that, but I'm starting to entertain a little bit of that now. Just to give people something to see. But I mean, we never disbanded. We never really disbanded. We just wasn't making records. You know what I mean?
It does say that on Wikipedia. I looked it up. It said you guys broke up. And I'm like, okay,
no, we didn't break up. We never broke up. We always been together. The only thing that ever happened with Stetsasonic was, in between the second and third album, Foucault left.
Oh.
So that's why you don't see Foucault on the third album. You didn't see him in the No BS Alive video. You don't see him in the Susie video. You don't hear him on some of the singles like the part, like the funk again. That's the only thing that happened. I mean, but that's old news. You know what I mean? That's 1990 news. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's old news.
This is DJ Grand Wizard, Grand Imperial, Grand of them all, DJ Prince Paul, brand new Stetsasonic.
Some of y'all waiting on detox.
Y'all thought Wise was a beatbox. Y'all thought we broke up,
but now y'all giving up.
Click clack, Stets back.
Call that what you want, but it's just rap.
I heard on the street, bring the band back. Cross my heart, brought the band back.
So we here now.
Where your man's at? The one who was laughing on the internet. But now we smash on the internet. Class on the internet.
We just say step. Hands in the air if you love life.
Shouting out Philly cause they love bikes. We in Brooklyn most of the time.
And the host of the time might have seen us with a drum set. Bobby Simmons on iHeartRadio.
Prince Paul on the new Chris Rock show.
Gamble, gamble.
Bet, playing 928, it ain't hit yet.
You know a girl got a black and yellow house. When we play, she come out, cause she eat, sleep, and shit stank.
Some of y'all waiting on detox.
Y'all thought Wise was a beatbox.
Y'all thought we broke up,
but now y'all giving up.
But now y'all giving up. but now y'all giving up.
Clear your vision up. This is 2020.
Big money, milk and honey. Shout out when you're working and you can't sleep. All you're thinking when you up is about your big dreams.
On the bus with the band.
Big dreams, on the chart like a trout going upstream.
You ain't about that.
You can lead in.
I can save these tickets for my best friends.
Loyalty rare, but we full of that. You need money now, maybe should've stacked.
We might be the best thing you ever lost.
See this day coming, so we going off. East New York, but it's Amity and Fox too.
All the people, all the blocks too.
Stat fans and some who don't know you. Join up in the city when we flow through. Might do a show when we blow through.
Paul and DaddyO, they give lectures too.
Some of y'all waiting on detox.
Y'all thought Wives was a beatbox.
Y'all thought we broke up, but now y'all giving up.
But now y'all giving up.
But now y'all giving up. You ain't about that.
You can lead in.
I could say these tickets for my best friend.
Where we at, D?
Dean Street. The incomparable Dean Street. Thank you, sir. We back.
Some of y'all waiting on detox. Y'all thought Wives was a beatbox. Y'all thought we broke up. But now y'all giving up.
But now y'all giving up.
But now y'all giving up.
But now y'all giving up.
Show coming up or something big coming up for you guys here in the next couple weeks as well?
Yeah, so August, we dropped a single this month, which right now is available on Stetsasonic.com and Top That. And then probably by the end of this week, with it being Sunday, by the end of this week it'll be up on all platforms. And we got 2 shows coming up. We got one coming up at the Brooklyn Army Terminal in association with the Universal Hip Hop Museum, which is a big show. It's us, Big Daddy Kane, Mano, Papoose, CNC Music Factory. There's a lot of people on that bill, but because it's a city event that they're doing, basically a festival where they're doing different acts in each borough. So, of course, we Brooklyn because we Brooklyn, but Wu-Tang's going to be Staten Island, KRS-One and Fat Joe will be in the Bronx, like that kind of thing. And then we have a huge show coming up on August 28th at the Coney Island Band Shell, also in Brooklyn, Stetsasonic and Friends. And with that, we bring in MOPAZ, Master Ace, Dr. Chex, a few other people. So that's going to be dope.
Got a little chill bump saying all those artists, man. That's
yeah, it's gonna be good. We actually trying to tour that second one. It's our show. We headline. We're actually trying to tour that right now.
Okay.
It ain't for everybody, but for the people that hip hop heads and stuff, they'll understand it. They'll get into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So real quick, man, how did y'all come up with the name?
So the light came up with the name. As far as like ideologically, like words, a lot of those words and titles and all that come between Delight and Prince Paul. So the way we used to, I'm going backwards. The way we used to make albums, besides for this album, is Prince Paul would always come up with a bunch of titles, and we would just write for those titles.
Oh.
You know what I mean? And Delight is responsible for a whole lot of the other wordplay. So it was Delight that came up with the word Stetsasonic. And I was like, well, why are you saying Stetsasonic? He said, because originally we was called the Stetson Brothers. We are actually how you say it, a sequel possibly to the original Stetson Brothers, which is another group of guys totally. And they kind of passed the torch to us. So originally we were the Stetson Brothers, but the light was like, well, even though that wasn't no records and nothing like that. That was back in the day. But he was just like, people could get confused. You know what I'm saying? They could still think it's the other Stetson brothers. So, let's do Stetsasonic. I said, what do you mean? What's this mean? He said, Stetsa, because it was from the Stetson hats and the style. Stetson means style, sonic means sound, so Stetsasonic. Like, sound good to me. How it sound to y'all, fellas? And they was like, I'm good with it. So that's how the name came about. The Light came up with the name, as well as coming up with the title track to the new album and a whole bunch of other stuff. Like I said, when it comes down to the Light and Fall, you know what I'm saying, they'll like point us in certain places, and then we'll follow suit in terms of the things that we do.
Okay.
Can't you tell us about the
group
the people are asking?
Of course we expect to win. Any self-respecting, intelligent person knows that this so-called band, Stetsasonic, and the rest of this hip-hop music is just a passing fad, which, 1, is not creative, 2, inspires violence, and 3, encourages thievery in the form of sampling. No further questions, please.
Well, please, can't you tell us the
Well, here's how it started. Heard you on the radio, talking about rap, saying all that about how we sample, giving examples.
Think we'll let you get away with that? You criticize our method of how we make records. You said it wasn't art, so now we're gonna rip you apart.
Stop. Check it out, my man. This is the music of a hip-hop band. Jazz, well, you can call it that.
But this jazz retains a new format.
Point. When you misjudged us, speculated, created a fuss.
You've made the same mistake politicians have.
Talking all that jazz. I heard talk is cheap, but like beauty, talk is just skin deep. And when you lie and you talk a lot,
people tell you to step off a lot. You see, you misunderstood. A sample just a tactic, a portion of my method, a tool.
In fact, it's
only of importance when I make it a priority.
And what we sample love by the majority.
But you a minority in terms of thought,
narrow-minded
and poorly taught about hip-hop fame or the silly game to erase my music so no one can use it.
You step on us and we'll step on you.
Can't have your cake and eat it too.
Talking all that jazz. That's when you hide the truth. It's when you talk more jazz than proof, and when you lie and address something you don't know.
It's so whack that it's bound to show.
When you lie about me and the band, we get angry. With why our pen start writing again. And the things we write are always true, sucker. Let's get a grip, now we talking about you. Seems to me that you have a problem, so we can see what we can do to solve them.
Think rap is a fad? You must be mad, cause we're so bad we get respect you never had.
Tell the truth, James Brown was old. Tell Eric and Rock came out with I Got Soul.
Rap brings back old R&B, and if we would not, people could have forgotten.
We want to make this perfectly clear. We're talented and strong and have no fear
of those who choose to judge but lack pizzazz.
Talking all that jazz.
Now we're not trying to be a boss to you. We just want to get across to you
that if you're talking jazz, the situation is a no-win.
You might even get hurt, my friend.
Stetsasonic, the hip-hop band.
And like Sly and the Family Stone, we will stand
up for the music we live and play,
and for the song we sing today.
For now, let us set the record straight,
and later on we'll have a forum and a formal debate.
But it's important you remember, though,
what you reap is what you sow.
Talking all that jazz.
Before you were DaddyO, did you have a name that you went by before you came?
When I started rapping, I had a name Dr. On. Because I used to sound like them guys. I used to sound like them guys uptown in the Bronx, you know, because I didn't know what to do. I just knew I wanted to rap, and they was all sounding smooth and here's the beat, y'all. You don't stop, keep on. You know what I mean? And I was doing that too until I met the Stetson brothers, and they're the ones that gave me the name DaddyO and actually my rhyme style. I perfected it. but they're the ones that, you know, even the growl in my voice and all that comes from them. You know what I mean? They taught me that. And once they taught me that, I was able to build on it and then kind of bring it to my guys, bring it to the life, speak on at the time, you know what I'm saying? Hey, this is the way we're going to rock it and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, my name is Dr. On first.
That's kind of hot. You might want to go under that on an alias or
No,
something.
I think I might do a Dr. On album. I think I want to do a Dr. On album because, so as I make these albums, right, because it's 2021 moving into 22, there's all these opportunities to do things that I couldn't do in the past, right? Because I couldn't record at will in the past. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I just couldn't do it, right? So now that I can, I've come up with like all of these ideas. Some past, some present, some futuristic. But for the past one, I got this, I do have this one album I wanted, well, it's two of them. One is called In the Beginning or From the Beginning or something like that. I got to look back and see what I had. But that one, I thought about the Dr. On stuff. And then I got an album I want to do with Great Beat Lou called DaddyO Disco, which is basically all of these disco records that ushered in hip hop. Because in the beginning, we used to all rap to the disco breaks until hip hop became totally its own sound. Because it didn't have a total sound. You know, I mean, hip hop in its purity is a great collage. I always say it's a great collage. Because it's us rapping on top of music that was already made. That's Rapping for Light. That's all the hot records, you know. That's every Rick Ross record right now. That's the Kendrick records. That's the J. Cole records. Like those records that you really like, that be having them spitters and all of that, you know. It's always us rapping on top of something, a sample or a record, you know. So that, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, so I want to do the DaddyO Disco because I want to do I want to go back to that era and rap on some of those beats. So, yeah, so I mean, you know, shoot, there might be more than one Dr. On project coming. I don't know.
That was where really a lot of the earlier hip hop, that's what they were rapping over was the disco. Right?
Yeah. And a lot of them joints is, like I was just listening to a record right before I sat down to talk to you. And it's by a guy named Gino Socio, and it's called Try It Out.
Okay.
The record is mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, oh, Try It Out got to be on the DaddyO Disco album because they be funky. You know what I'm saying? They be real funky. Like, that's, you know, it's just, you know, you got to just catch the break part. You know what I mean? When it gets into the whole record, there might be a whole bunch of stuff going on this thing. But them intros always funky, and those breakdowns always funky. So, yeah, it's some room.
Track here. You worked with a lot of artists from back in the day, and a lot of people would be surprised who you worked with. Could you let them know just a few?
Yeah, so I did work with Mary J. Blige. I did work with the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I produced Top Billing for the Audio 2, Milk V. Worked with Third World, the Reggae Group. Worked with Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones. I mean, you know, it's quite a few people. Vesta Williams, God bless the dead. Jeffrey Osborne. So I've written and produced for quite a lot of people throughout my music career.
What about anybody out now that we would know about that's newer? That's
I think that probably the most recent that people would know, and she still ain't recent, would be Lil' Kim, because me and Un started Junior Mafia, so they started in my basement. Actually, Kim and Kathy started in my basement. But yeah, that's probably the most recent. You know, considering like some of the young kind of up and coming things, like we working on self-destruction too. And one of the things that we're considering with self-destruction too is pairing legends with like up and coming artists. You know what I mean? So I think it's quite a few people that always like kind of give me music and stuff like that. And then between that and my team, you know, having people that say, hey man, check this guy out or check this girl out or whatever. So I think I'm gonna work with a couple of really not known people. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, so I got records out now with people that, you know, pretty much in the know, like now, but they not, you know, they may not be huge names like Indigo Phoenix and Nina Jackson. You know, I did a record with Bun B not too long ago. I did a record with Pasanusa De La Soul. Rusty Juke, me and Rusty Juke just dropped the joint not too long ago. So you know, I got the new album coming up, Planet Asia's on that. Yeah, so you know, I mean, I'm out here, I'm around. You know, it's just an issue of when it comes down to some of the younger people, whether or not they want to step in that arena. You know what I'm saying? Because we rap, we really rap over here.
Yeah, I know the record with Indigo. I'm familiar with Indigo. I interviewed her probably about 6-7 months ago, and she spoke very highly of you. She spoke.
Yeah, we doing a whole project together. Like, we working on that now. Like, the DaddyO and the Phoenix album is gonna be pretty. It's good, man. It's good because you know she's different. You know what I'm saying? So it's beautiful to work with somebody that, you know. I love her energy, but she don't sound like nobody else, and that's, you know, that's very rewarding for me because some of the ideas that we're coming up with, you know, that combination of me and her, it works out well.
Indigo Phoenix. Oh, that's true.
We can see that.
You ain't built right. Here to make you dance like Fortnite. DaddyO and the queen of the uptight. Giving you a pound of the act right.
The game is a joke, the boss are legit. If you not showing ass, they don't care what you spit. I'm kicking in doors, you know. I'm not budging on the issue, about ready to flip.
And we necessary. Hitting heavy. Headshots, cause they legendary. Straight beef if you want, but you best vegan. I ain't lacing that with cap or no
intermediate. Average, flow gritty and straight savage. Respect the artistry, dudes not as hard as me. Straight cornball, the type to pray for your downfall. I want it all, you see I got they back against the wall.
Trick, you can front if you want to. You can front if you want to. Front on us and we get you. We gon' get you, huh? Trick, you can front if you want to. We gon' get you, huh? Front on us and we get you. Trust me, you gon' Trick, you can front if you want to. Try me, you gon' front on us and we get you. Trust me, you gon' Trick, you can front if you want to. Try me, you gon' front on us and we get you.
Niggas keep singing the same old song, but how they been wrong and how they presence is strong, they money long. The BS, he got it deaded. The tone I said it, greatness is DNA embedded.
And we built tough, way before the Fords, or the Bushes, or the Clintons, or the Overlords. Well known for the boom clap. Can't tell if it's a jam or where they shoot.
I'm blazing trails, making moves, I won't regret it. I never fall, rep the culture, playing my role. Uncompromising, my soul will never be sold. The path is rocky, and it's never paved in gold.
These sisters thinking surgery or indoor woes. I need more than a snatch waist and pretty toes. I need a great mind, great aimer on the range. And if you need the lights, you need the change.
Trick, you can front if you want to. You can front on us and we get you. Trick, you can front if you want to. We gon' get you, huh? Front on us and we get you. Trust me, you gon' Trick, you can front if you want to. Try me, you gon' front on us and we get you. Trust me, you gon' Trick, you can front if you want to. Try me, you gon' front on us and we get you. Trick, you can front if you want to. Front on us and we get you. We gon' get you, huh? Trick, you can front if you want to. Front on us and we get you. Trust me, you gon' Trick, you can front if you want to. Try me, you gon' front on us and we get you. Trust me, you gon' Trick, you can front if you want to. Try me, you gon' front on us and we get you. It's a whole squad of us. Small words, I said, I am big as hell.
I also saw you had a record with Smith and Wesson. Am I correct? I saw that as like a video.
Yeah. It's a video for that. It's called Part of the Plan. Yeah, that's a dope little joint too. I produced that joint. It's a dope little joint too. You know, that's the homies. Like, I do records with people that are my favorite. So that's why I got a record with Bun. That's why I got a record with Smith and Wesson. That's why I got a record with Andre Nicotina. Like, I find my favorite rappers and I ask them to make records with me. On the present album that's out right now, I got a record with Big Mike of the Ghetto Boy. So Big Mike, you know, that's Something Serious album. It's like one of my favorite albums in the whole world. Like, I know that album with Player on it backwards and forward. Like, so, you know, opportunity came. I was like, yo, you do a record with me? He's like, sure, I'll do a record with you, OG. I'm like, just hear me and Big Mike on the joint together. I'm like, yeah, that's what's up. So I just deal with the people I love, man, you know, because there's a lot of people. What I noticed, man, and I'm not saying everybody's like this, but what I noticed is that you see often we see a disconnect between my generation or my genre or whatever you want to call us, right? And newer people or people from outside of this region. And so I've always been in tune with music outside of the New York region. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'll hear me on Flowing and Fire that I made in '91. You'll hear me talking about MC Breeze. You know what I mean? Like, I'm always in touch with hip hop on a global scale. You know, definitely a national scale, but definitely, you know what I'm saying, just try to be in touch with hip hop in terms of wherever it comes from. Because everything don't come from the same place. Everything don't come from New York. Everything don't come from Houston. Everything don't come from LA. Everything don't come from Florida. It comes from all over the place. And so I try to stay. Try to stay abreast of that. So a lot of the times when you see me have features on my records, they definitely. I do very little features with people from New York unless I really, really love them, like West Egypt and Smith and Wesson. But then you'll see the globe on my record. You know what I mean? Nicotina from Sacramento, Lena Jackson from North Carolina, you know, just all over the place.
He had this line with me where he says, "It's in the plan, Daddy-O. It's in the plan."
They fear what they can't understand. I guess it's just a part of the plan. Been granted ever since the beginning of man. It's all just a part of the plan. Killing our own and we can't understand. I guess it's all just a part of the plan. The world is yours in the palm of your hand. Young man, it's all a part of the plan. The pain's real, the game's real. The bar's hard, the name's tech, and still, that boy died. My condolences. My boy cried. What sense of holding it? We live for money and violence. I ain't condoning it. To whom much is given, much required. We call that ownership. Stop holding on to the past, baby. I'm over it. Live life fast, that's in the crash. You lose control of it. We want to fall for chips, boning chicks and foreign whips. Be conscious when the drama starts and the karma hits. I'm a survivalist. The block's hot like lava pit. Keep a llama tucked in my garments, my aura obvious. Guard body not with the nonsense. Mind elevated. After success since a child. Grind premeditated. This for the youngest that rise. And fam who never made it. You afraid a black man with a gun or one who's educated? They fear what they can't understand. I guess it's just a part of the plan. Been granted ever since the beginning of man. It's all just a part of the plan. Killing our own and we can't understand. I guess it's all just a part of the plan. The world is yours in the palm of your hand. Young man, it's all a part of the plan.
Shortcuts never represent the long haul. Boutique flow, you never see it in the mall. Never see me with the squares at the lunch table. Stay out the range of my aim and do yourself a favor. Pee Wee Kirkland told me talking crimes on songs is telling. Ronnie Newt told me keep it quiet, don't be yelling. Cause I'm a OG. But I got OGs, taught me to do my best, but ain't no guarantees. Guards up, ain't no telling what the whack do. All that frontin' and faking, they try to fool you. I seen New Yorkers move to ATL and play they bosses, and you believe them. You ain't took time to check they sources. What you saying, professor? I'm saying cats be capping. Say they was gangsters, but miraculously now they rapping. Man, ain't a gangster alive on a rap song. And if you heard it different, you must have heard wrong.
They fear what they can't understand. I guess it's just a part of the plan. Been granted ever since beginning of man. It's all just a part of the plan. Killing our own and we can't understand. I guess it's all just a part of the plan. The world is yours in the palm of your hand. Young man, it's all a part of the plan. They fear what they can't understand. I guess it's just a part of the plan. Been granted ever since beginning of man. It's all just a part of the plan. Killing our own and we can't understand. I guess it's all just a part of the plan. The world is yours in the palm of your hand. Young man, it's all a part of the plan.
It's in the plan, DaddyO.
I'm glad to see that after was it been 40 years plus? It was some 40 years you've been doing hip hop that you're well, I want to ask you what fuels you to continue to do this? I mean, you could be doing other things like production and really managing artists. What keeps you continuing to pick up the mic?
Well, rapping to me is my talent. You know, that's my talent. Maybe honestly, sometimes people do make distinctions between talent and gifts.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I don't know. A lot of times people put it all in one thing. I make a distinction. So other things may just be my gift. You know what I mean? Just, you know, being smart enough to manage somebody or just to do digital strategy. Or I have a tech company. That's one of the reasons I'm in New York early, because we're running a project here. You know, that's gift. But my talent is rapping. I'm a rapper. You know what I'm saying? Just like a singer is a singer, a guitar player is a guitar player. I'm a rapper. So my whole thing with rapper is just like a guitar player is going to always be playing. You know, he's going to always pick up his guitar and do something new. And yeah, he might have his old standards that he messing around with, but something new start happening, he's going to at least try to see if he can hang out in there. He don't necessarily have to make that kind of music, but he's going to, you know, see what it is, you know, that type of. I'm the same way. Like I don't feel any different than I did when I was coming up. When I was coming up, I'm listening to the Fantastic Five. I'm listening to the Furious Five. I'm listening to the Mastodon Committee or Cold Crush 4 or the Fearless 4. And that's where I'm getting all my keys, you know, Funky 4+1. That's where I'm getting all my keys from, right? Listening to guys that are out and trying to figure out where I fit. So I do the same thing now, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not, so I'm not a guy who just listen to Nas putting out King's Disease. I'm listening to T Grizzly. I'm listening to friggin' Blueface. I'm listening to YB and Cortez. I'm listening to X Corday. I'm listening to everybody to try to figure it out. And that's what really fuels me is like these youngsters, man. Because I mean, you know, they don't get half the credit that they should get. You know, people say mumble rap and all of that. Mm-hmm. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and she really into old school. And she's like, yeah, I don't listen to none of the new stuff. I don't listen to the mumble rap. So I played her quite a few things. And I said, none of that was mumble that I just played.
Right.
Played her some Griselda, played her some Clever, played her a couple other things. I said, none of that was mumble. You understood everything that they said. Like, they give them a bad rap, you know what I mean? And then you can't get, like, if you already turned off from it, you can't get into it to try to feel what it is, you know what I mean? And some of them be thrown. Like, one of my favorite, and they're not really a group, but they kind of a group, but they're not really a group, is Dolph and Key Rock. I love them. I love them together, you know what I'm saying? And I love them individually. Like, I like what they do. And they don't do what J. Cole does. Like, they're not, you know, rap fanatics, like, but they say some stuff that I think is real clever. That last I think it was Key Rock's last joint that he did, and he got a guy like probably my age, his uncle is in the interlude. It's so dope. You know what I'm saying? It's so dope. You know what I'm saying? He's talking about how his father grew up and all of that. You know what I mean? But you gotta give it a shot. So I know it's a long answer to a short question, but yeah, man, it's hip hop that fuels me. Like, I'm still that guy. I never left it like, oh, you know, Heb is gone, God bless the dead, or, you know, I ain't heard an LL record in a while, so I'm disconnected from hip hop. It's enough rap records out there for me to listen to right now. I want my peers to make records because I think that's what's missing from the game. People say what's missing from the game. The only thing missing from the game is us. The young kids gonna do what they're gonna do, just like we was young kids doing what we was doing.
Right.
But we missing from the game because if you ain't got no new step records, if you ain't got no new Kid and Play records, if you ain't got no new Light records, no new Big Daddy Kane records, then you gotta pick from the old stuff. And if you want anything current, you got to go with the current artist that's out, which might not be your it might not be your cup of tea.
I have to agree. I wish more artists from our time would still do music, man. And why I asked you that is because a lot of the artists from our time are either now behind the scenes as actors, producers, or you know what I'm saying, they're not up front anymore, and it's missing. You know, we don't have a platform for us that are 40 or up or 50 or up. We don't have we get excited. We don't get that excitement for hip hop that we once did. You know, when the new Step album dropped, it was a certain excitement you got. When a new album drops from a rapper of the day, it's like, okay, I mean, but it's not the same to me, for me, you know, and I just really, I'm excited about it. And it gives me a little chills to hear rappers from our day come back and do music and bring that excitement back. And maybe even something that we could play for our kids and not have to be like, well, explain stuff you don't
Well, that's the point. That's the point. The point is, I tell this to wives all the time. I say, listen, when you think about the new Stetsasonic single, right? I said, the way I approach all the music that I make now, I'm talking about the music I've been making since 2016, is I want people like you to have bragging rights. Because right now, if you get in the car with your kids or your nephews or whatever, but let's just say you get in the car and it's a bunch of kids in the car, preteen to teenage, and you put on some Stetsasonic and it's not new, it's gonna sound old and dated. That's no disrespect to Stetsasonic. We just made it in '88, so it sounds like '88. You know what I mean? And you usually don't end up having bragging rights. You know, usually what happens is, oh, Dad, there you go playing your old stuff again. You know what I'm trying to say? So, and the only thing new becomes the things that they listen to. If you had a plethora of new records that sounded great, because I mean, I think it takes some work, right? So that's why it's been my dream since I've been doing this. I'm saying since 2016, it's been my dream to A&R records for my peers, because I figured out how we should sound. I figured out that sound. You know what I mean? And that took a minute for me to study it. It took a minute for me to do it. Because if it didn't take a minute for me to do it, I would have ended up on a trap beat. You know what I mean? Because some of the trap beats are fire, and a lot of trap beats are very old school in the drum pattern. Because a lot of trap beats just be that in the back. It's just the little sounds that they have, and then the little eeriness that they do with the filters and stuff. So some of it is hard. You know, some of them trap beats are hard. So I probably think if I didn't study, I would have ended up on one of them. That would have been what I was doing. But I think if I would have did that, it would have been it would have felt like it would have felt and sounded like such a sellout move. That's what I think. You know what I mean? And a person like yourself or somebody that's a big Stetsasonic fan would not have had bragging rights, because it would have made it seem like I'm trying to keep up with Pooh Shiesty. You know what I mean? Like that's, you know, and that within itself is just an ugly look. So, you know, I had to kind of try to figure out, you know, who are we? You know, who are we? I'm, you know, starting with myself. You know what I mean? Who am I? You know, how does this flare off? How does this come across? What is it that I'm supposed to be doing? How am I supposed to be talking? You know, and what, and you know, I think I can't say more importantly, but just as importantly, how does the music sound? You know, what is the music that I could play It could be underneath what I'm doing. People won't say, "Oh man, that just sounds like some old stuff." You know, people, because people who don't make music and that's fans, like my nephew used to tell me before. One of them, not my nephew from Harlem, but one of them used to always tell me, "Oh man, you should come back with the stuff that you made before. Like you should do Sally." They've been saying that since 2000. You should do Sally 2000, and in their mind, they don't know what else to do but tell me that I should take something I made before and remake it so people can understand it. That makes absolutely no sense to me. Like, that sounds stupid to me. So the whole issue was, kind of figuring that out. And, trial and error, man. Messing around with producers, seeing which one had that heat, which one don't, who can continuously generate it, who can't. You know what I mean? So shout out to C-Doc, shout out to Mellow Dope. All the guys that's just been really holding me down. Black Snow, you know what I mean? That's just now they understand exactly what it is that I do and could actually hand me something. Kevin Dean that did the first Stetsasonic single, like they know what to send me. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, the way producers work, bro, producers make a lot of stuff. So sometimes a producer might make something, and because it doesn't feel or sound current, they just push it to the side and keep on doing what they're doing. Because if you're a brand new producer, or if you're a producer that never really had no commercial records out, more than likely what you're going to do is try to maintain within this atmosphere. So you're going to try to mimic what's on the radio or all of that kind of stuff. But there's always, I say this all the time, there's always some stuff that you made that's probably fire that don't sound like the stuff that's on the radio. You just didn't know what to do with it. That's the stuff that I be having them give me. Shout out to Goldfingers from North Carolina. He gave me a joint. I knew exactly what that joint was when he gave it to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure somebody else would have even understood what that record is. You know what I mean? But because he's a current producer, because he's a guy that can make records right now for Lil Uzi Vert or Young Thug, sonically, he's up to date all the way. You know what I'm saying? It's just everything he make ain't trapped. So the ones that ain't trapped, slide them over here. You know what I'm saying? But it takes studying, man. It takes, it's not like we are who we are. You understand what I'm trying to say? And go, yeah, I'm DaddyO, so I can just get back on. There's none of my peers that can just step back on the scene right now and, oh, you just step back on the scene because you got that name. It doesn't work like that, bro. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't.
It seems like you start all over again. A lot of
absolutely that.
Yeah, a lot of the artists that we grew up on, and we were like, why don't you just come on back out? Because the young people can be from nowhere and be on social media and blow up as big as maybe an artist from back in the day. Now, it's crazy how social media is making stars with some of these artists.
Oh yeah, but that's their world though, right? So you can't take that away from them because these kids are digital natives. So you can't take away from a kid that's his world. A lot of us are not digital natives. A lot of us seen cell phones come on the scene, seen tablets come on the scene, seen laptops come on the scene. So that's a different situation because we're not native to that. We're native to possibly vinyl or cassette. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of situation. This is their world, so of course it is going to work out that way because it's their world. It's just it's the way that they live in. It's what they grew up looking at. It's what they grew up seeing. So they totally understand that. So of course they can because they can maneuver within these pipes. A lot of us can't. And it takes study. That's what I will say, bro.
Speaking of a girl named Susie. Speaking of a girl named Susie. Speaking of a girl named Susie, said she'd do anything to soothe me. Take off clothes or put them back on. Ain't that right, Wise?
Word is bond. Coming from the show, she was always there. It's like we couldn't get her out of our hair. She would even follow us late at night. Right, Delight?
Yo, believe the hype. Susie was a girl we couldn't get enough of. Can say it was love, cause I don't know what it was. Homeboy said she was a real loose cutie, so I tapped her dad and said, yo, we got a groupie.
Speaking of a girl named Susie. Speaking of a girl named Susie. Do you remember that day? We was on the tour bus, listening to a tape, I think it was the Cold Crush. Susie heard the tape and said, who's that? The light said, shh,
just sit on my lap.
She said, okay, whatever you say. I saw the game and asked, can I play? She said, sure. I said, really? And what about the rest of the Stet Posse? She just smiled and I just grinned. And the band, they got ready to win. Or should I say start, or should I say begin? Any way you put it, she was all in.
Started on the tour bus, she was in the rush.
Rush to do what?
You know what's up. The bus had 3 rooms, she started in the first. And it was pretty bad, but the second got worse. And in the third, I had to tip my hat.
You mean it was like that, huh?
Yo, it was like that. Susie had a thing for the boys in the band. And the band being Step, be assured, my man. Everything that glitters ain't always gold. But for all the groups, yo, she broke the mold.
Speaking of a girl named Susie. Speaking of a girl named Susie.
Right before show caps in a DC, I looked at Wise, the dad looked at me. We slapped by while the band got ready. Then we all glanced around the suit. She had monogram ties with our names on each. A 2-piece bikini like you wear on a beach. A shape no man can ever forget. And on the back of her shirt, take me to the bridge. On one day,
it was in the winter.
Snow was on the ground.
We were leaving Philly.
I was in my bunk, ear to my radio.
Wrapped in his blanket.
Cause it was kinda chilly.
Not too long after,
we all fell asleep.
And the snowstorm got a lot worse.
Our bus driver started dozing off.
The bus started drifting.
Susie noticed first.
She awoke the crew.
And the driver, no doubt,
saved our lives.
And that's a fact.
And one thing about Susie,
you all should know, she may be a groupie, but we love her to the max, Jack.
Was the last 2 albums you had a song for Sally and Susie. Now is it going to be another Susie or another Sally or a new?
There's a record we writing right now, but we didn't name it a girl. Maybe we did. It could easily be that. It could easily be that, because there is a girl record that we right in the middle of writing. Beautiful record. Kevin Dean did that. Really, really dope joint. The light came up with the idea for it as well. So maybe, I don't know. I mean, I take that back to the guys and I think I'm calling the record Lolita right now. You know what I'm saying? Just because of where we're going with the concept. Maybe it stays Lolita, maybe it turns into something different. But yeah, more than likely you got at least see. Because I know two girl records that we already got. So you'll at least hear some semblance of it, whether or not it'll be a girl with a name on it.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me, man. It's been an honor, and give out all your social media for those who don't know.
Yeah, I'm Professor DaddyO everywhere. All the Step stuff can be copped at Stetsasonic.com. ProfessorDaddyO.com is we're working a quick track to have that up really soon. But I'm pretty much Professor DaddyO all over the place. DaddyO, when you search any of the music on YouTube, iTunes, Apple Music, I guess iTunes, Apple Music, anything, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you get your music, Deezer, Tidal. But yeah, I'm out there, man. I'm out there, and I'm reachable. I also tell people all the time, you know, when you trying to holler at us about something, oldadtruth.com. Just giving a precursor, we're not really in the mode of like looking for artists. Because a lot of times people tell me stuff like we're not. Because we're in the middle of trying to promote the art that we're making right now, and I'm not gonna lie or sit here and lie. I say that it's easy because it's not. It's fun, but it's not easy. But definitely, you know, for services, sometimes people want features. They can hit us up about that. Sometimes people want production, so they can hit us up about that because not only am I still producing, but the guys are still producing, so we still working. So, you know, all that could be at odadtruth.com. But I'm Professor Daddy all over the internet. Instagram is my network of choice. I'm not that great on YouTube. I got a lot of great stuff on YouTube on different people's channels. You'll see a bunch of views, but it'll be on somebody else's channel. It won't be on mine because I'm horrible.
So when can we expect the Stetsasonic album?
That I don't have a date. I got a few records that's finished. We kind of moving back into like classic hip hop mode where we're really crafting out singles. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? First, so we know what the next two singles are, okay. And so that'll take us some time. And then you know we're between writing, recording, and mixing right now. So there's quite a few records. I know at the end we're gonna have to do what we do with every Stetsasonic project, which is cut some down or cut some off because there's more, you know. But we're in the middle of doing that now, and I'm real pleased, man. It's I mean, you know, people say that all the time, but for me, it's an honor. It's an honor to still be in this band, to work with this group of guys that I've been working with over 40 years, to be able to crank out some stuff. You know, that's not only sonically equipped, but, you know, that does everything that we needed to do and feel the way that we needed to feel. Because, you know, it's just not real easy to do. Again, it's not, it's not impossible, but it takes some work. You know what I mean? And for that, I'm extremely grateful for the guys of jumping in the pot, you know, 2 feet first, and just giving me everything that, you know, that I would need to kind of take these records to the next level or whatever. So, you know, the contribution, it feels very familiar, you know, the light coming up with ideas and stuff. All of that feels very familiar. So it's just dope to be able to do it. And again, man, I mean, you know, think about back in the day, right? Nobody could record at will.
Right.
You had to wait for an engineer. You had to do all of this. So now that we have these things at our disposal, we need to just be doing as much, you know how what the young people say, doing the most. We need to be doing the most. Like, why wouldn't we? You know, you can record at will now. You can do whatever you need to do now. So why wouldn't you do that? Like, why, you know, we're cranking out a whole bunch of stuff between, you know, let's say 86 and 89, you know what I mean? And then now it's 2021, it's easier to crank out stuff when we're not doing anything. Like, that's some weirdo stuff. Right. So, you know, I'm just happy that we can and real proud of the guys. So yeah, the single is up on Stetsasonic.com. Definitely go up, pop that. We love when you buy it from the site. You know, all the merchandise is up there too. We're doing some cool hoodies, some cool t-shirts. Same t-shirt that's in the video is available as well. And then, you know, the Professor DaddyO stuff is all over. I got a Bandcamp. I got quite a few. I have quite a lot of music on my Bandcamp. Every so often somebody comes and, you know, spend a 50 clip on like all this stuff. Cause, you know, we got a package where you could get all the DaddyO stuff at one price. But there's 6 albums up there, plus singles, plus a whole bunch of other stuff. So yeah, check us out.
Okay. One last question before we go.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering, we heard about the self-destruction movement and self-destruction too. When does that coming out? I heard about it a year ago.
Yeah. It was probably right before COVID, and then COVID hit. I don't have a solid date. I will tell you that we're signed to a company out of Canada called We Are Opposition that works with G Herbo, and you know, shout out to Juice World before he died. You know, quite a few of these young people, and you know, we're working with them. And the first single is going to be produced by Toby and Wigway's camp. So it's me, Toby, his wife, Fat, his producer Nell, who's the girl that makes all this beat, Chuck D, Big Chris, Westside Boogie, and Grandmaster Flash. That's the first record.
Big.
And yeah, now I got heat now. I already got heat from Premier, from Pete Rock, from Large Professor, from Easy Mo B, from Rottweiler, from Tramp, and KG, from Naughty by Nature. So I already got some heat I'm sitting on. After we do this first record, that's what we're tying up now to get that first record and that video done. We'll begin to start consolidating and, philosophizing on who's on the next record.
All right, man. Yeah. All right. I appreciate you taking the time.
Hey, no doubt, my brother. I appreciate you guys, man. Like I said, it's not impossible, but being a classic MC in this day and time, commercial radio is a little freaky about, anything that's not, young and new, which is stupid, but it's what they do. So, we love guys like you, man, because, you never, it's the internet, so you never know who's going to see it. And, you guys always give us good interviews, so we're able to, get some ideas out there, and then, all the reposting possibilities, you know what I'm saying? So I appreciate it, bro. I appreciate you, man.
All right, man.
All right.
Stay in touch, man.